Welcome to Mainland, your local regional television station. I'm Graham O'Brien, and some of the stories coming up in our Nelson Tasman Regional News Roundup. The rich and famous head to Nelson, the charity fundraiser passes through, it's all downhill for annual trolley derby, and more. The sun was shining as the hay bales lined the track in preparation for the Mike Pero trolley derby held in Nelson, down the city's Collingwood Street on Saturday. There was a record 92 entries for the event, with 15 of these representing local businesses, all competing for the ultimate title of Monarch of the Hill, which was awarded to the fastest trolley on the day and was won this year by young competitor Jack Lovell, who only just beat his father to the title. The day was one of excitement with a few thrills and spills. Nelson Trolley Club President Tim Bailey told media that there were some amazing trolleys in this year's derby, with everything from very innovative design to the most basic of recycled bits and pieces. Bailey said a number of children had a chance to get their first taste of trolley racing for a gold coin donation during the event's lunch break. Murdoch Stevens is currently on tour around the country giving talks on doubling the quota of refugees that come to New Zealand. He was in Nelson on Monday night to talk to the public at the Victory Community Centre. I asked him how the tour has been going and why should New Zealand double the current quota. Murdoch Stevens, thanks for joining us today.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
You've been touring the country, giving talks on doubling the quota of refugees into New Zealand. Can you tell us a little bit about how's it going and why should we double the quota?
Yeah, it's been going really great. So Nelson is the 7th of 8 cities that I'm coming to in New Zealand. We've had really good turnouts all through the North Island and the South Island. Was just in Christchurch at the cathedral there, really beautiful. The quota hasn't increased or hasn't changed in 29 years. So it was set at 800 places in 1987. A lot of the crowds, a lot of people weren't born in 1987. So they can kind of recognize how long it's been. So population's grown 42% in that time. Our real inflation adjusted GDP's more than doubled, so we can afford it. And in nominal terms, we've also decreased the number of asylum seekers who have come here after 9/11. We made it really hard for people to get here. So in the past, we actually did much more than we are now. So if we double the quota, it's increasing it to something we've done in the past. So it's not really a big ask, and in a time of world crisis, it's the least we can do.
And you're talking about doubling it from 800, so you're talking doubling it to 1,600?
Well, no, it dropped to 750 places under the Bolger government in 97, so increasing it through to 1,500 places.
Yeah, which just doesn't really seem like much, does it?
It's not. We're actually very poorly ranked internationally. So Australia, by comparison, takes 3 times as many per capita as New Zealand. Each Australian is doing 3 times as much as each New Zealander. And we hear about the bad things they do, but we don't hear about that. If we don't increase it, so currently the government's looking at reviewing the quota, and that'll be announced in the next couple of months. That's why I'm travelling around now. If we don't increase it by 2019, they'll be doing 4 times as much, because even though they're doing some terrible things with asylum seekers, they are still slowly opening this other door for people to get into the country.
Sure. There's been a bit of conversation about the cultural differences. There was all the problems in the EU countries. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's better to take refugees that are closer to home, such as the Pacific Islands, or who share the same maybe Christian moral ethics as we do? Have you got any comment towards that?
Yeah. So the UN says we should take the people who are most vulnerable in the world on this. So they ask us not to look at different religious groups. And actually, the Anglican Church was commenting on this recently, and they were saying a lot of their people said, we should just take Christians. But their stance was, we should take those people who are most vulnerable. And if we start picking and choosing, then it doesn't really become a refugee issue anymore. It becomes just another immigration issue. So refugees are only about 2% of immigration at the moment, really, really small numbers. And at the moment, the top 3 countries we take people from already are people like this. So Burmese, Bhutanese, and Colombians are the top 3. Wow. So I don't think there's a lot to fear. In terms of Syrians, I lived there for 3.5 months a few years ago, and I had no problems there with everyday people. We're taking families. 95% of our refugees come as families.
Sure.
So if there is a family unit, if they're supported, then you're not going to have any troubles at all.
Sure. I mean, we see from the refugees that we do take, the ones that come with families, the second generation are doing so well in our education systems and in the systems throughout New Zealand.
Yeah, I mean, throughout history in New Zealand, taking refugees, there's always a fear of people coming in, and it's justified, right? Because it's a beautiful gift to be able to give someone citizenship. Like, it's one of the most amazing things a country can do. Imagine if another country, you were persecuted and they took you in and they said, okay, you have all the rights of a person in this country. It's really amazing. I mean, in post-World War II, we were scared of communists coming in and taking over and starting socialist coups, and nothing like that ever happened. We were scared of the Indo-Chinese for the same reason, the Cambodians and Vietnamese, and nothing ever happened there. And that's because we do it well and because Kiwis are welcoming and caring, and we do a great job with it. But we certainly could do more.
Am I right in understanding just recently the government's changed where we take people from and the system, is that right?
Yeah, in 2009 there was a shift in our foreign aid policy that was focusing on Asia and the Pacific, and the same happened with our refugee quota. So before 2009 we took a third of our refugees from Africa, a third from the Middle East, and a third from Asia Pacific. And that's now changed to about 2/3 from Asia Pacific and 1/3 from the rest of the world. And we've also made limits on African and Middle Eastern refugees. You have to have a family member in New Zealand already to come in. But then again, like, most that are coming in from the Middle East are Christian, are Assyrian, Iraqis, and then some, just a trickle, down to 4% from Africa last year. So really huge shift there. And this is also something the government is reviewing, because Immigration New Zealand says we should get rid of these family restrictions because it means we can't help the most vulnerable people, women at risk or people like this, children.
And if people wanted to have a say on the double the quota with what the government's looking at now, how could they do that?
Well, the government hasn't asked for any feedback on it, so it's a little difficult. We do have a petition running with Action Station, which has over 16,000 people have signed up. Otherwise, you can write to your local MP or to the Immigration Minister or the Prime Minister. That's really the only way now. They're deciding really shortly, so now's the time to do it.
Great, Murdoch, thanks very much for your time and good luck with your mission around the country.
Thanks very much.
Cheers. In a groundbreaking court decision this month, the precedent, it seems, has been set. Local Nelson environmental lawyer Sue Gray has argued for a case of importation of a medical cannabis product for her Golden Bay client in court and won. I spoke to her in our studio this week. So we've had a couple of cases recently in Nelson, one with a lady from Takaka with multiple sclerosis who was fined and convicted, and the other one, which was your client, who was had 6 charges for importing and possessing, and she got off, which is quite surprising to quite a number of people because we all think importing is a big charge. Is this a case of having a lawyer and not having a lawyer?
Look, normally it wouldn't be, but perhaps in this case there is an element of that. I don't know much about the lady in Takaka, only what I read in the newspaper, but for my client she had some pretty exceptional circumstances with a long history of illness, and she put together a very good affidavit and explanation explaining it all for the judge. But the other thing is I found a provision in the law that creates an exemption for people bringing medical prescription products into the country for their own use. And so when we explained that to the judge under the Misuse of Drugs Act, he agreed that you really shouldn't be treated differently whether you bring it in yourself or post it to yourself.
Wow, so this is quite a groundbreaker. Is this a precedent?
Well, as far as I know, it's the first time anyone's used that section, at least for this type of situation with medical cannabis, yeah.
Well, it's quite amazing. So, I mean, we had quite a few high-profile cases lately. You know, we had Sir Paul Holmes, we had Martin Crowe, we've had Peter Dunn give Alex Rendon an exception to the case, and Helen Kelly now has asked for a referendum on it. What do you think? Is it time we started having this debate again? That, you know, these are high-profile people. They're not all greenies, weird, loopy hippies.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, as far as I can see, if someone's suffering from pain or they've got a debilitating illness or they're dying and there's a medication that works, why shouldn't they be allowed to use it? It seems crazy that even what we think of as well-known people are forced to act illegally, but nobody should have to act illegally. Everybody should be entitled to the medications that they need, from my perspective.
Sure. And I mean, in America now, in California especially, they've decriminalised it. It's very lax. You can get prescriptions from your doctor. I mean, if someone had a prescription to grow medical marijuana, does that mean that they could bring their prescription here to New Zealand and set up farms, so to say?
Yeah, I don't think that they could grow it here under a prescription. I think if they've got a cannabis product that's a medication that they've got a prescription for, that they obtained it legally in California, or there's I think 26 states in America now where you can legally buy cannabis products for medical purposes. So if they obtained it legally, they brought it back to New Zealand legally, a month's supply maximum, then they can use it. That's what the Misuse of Drugs Act says.
Well, it might be quite a few flights going backwards and forwards to California.
Yeah, but that's interesting as well, because I was actually coming through the airport myself the other day, and so out of inquiry, I inquired of the customs official whether they accept the provision if my client declared medical cannabis in the immigration entry form, and they could show that it was with a prescription and with all the necessary documentation, a month's supply. I just wanted to check that would be allowed to be brought in by customs, but the customs official advised me no way, they definitely seize it. So I said, well, that's not what the law says, and that's not what your own website says, because under the customs website it says that you can bring it in if you declare it. So the lady was quite firm that they'd definitely seize it. They've got drugs dogs and that's what they're there to do, and they don't care what excuses people have got. So I actually ended up writing to the Minister of Customs and raising this with her, and she wrote me a nice email back saying that she's going to refer it to her officials and get back to me. So it'll be really interesting to see what they say, because my view is at the moment the Ministry of Customs are acting illegally if they seize someone's medication at the airport.
Well, that's quite amazing. And speaking of ministers, how about Peter Dunn? Has he put his head up on this topic?
Yeah, well, that's been interesting too, because he's made various statements over the last 6 months or so about, or even longer, about different cases. What he's originally said in response to my client's case was that he thought I'd misinterpreted the law, and that the judge, well, he didn't say the judge shouldn't have given a discharge, but he did say that he thought the law had been misinterpreted. But he's since come back, and I've asked him some questions as well and referred him to the law and to some of the other explanations that go with it. He's now come back, I think, on Campbell Live on Friday night, saying that he now agrees with my interpretation of the law, which was what Judge Hobbs accepted for Rebecca's case. So he's shifting in his views. He's also said that he doesn't think that the New Zealand police should be prosecuting people who are using cannabis for medical purposes. However, it's clear that the New Zealand police are prosecuting people, so that's another debate that's got to be looked into, and obviously the solution for that is change the law so that everybody knows where they stand.
Sure, I mean there's this huge grey area that we've got customs saying one thing, the minister saying another, police acting differently again. Exactly.
And look, they've all got discretion. They don't have to enforce the law strictly. They've all got a discretion what to do in the public interest, as long as they can justify what they do. So there's some scope for them to move at the moment. But the problem is, like in Rebecca's case, even if she had brought it back into the country with her completely legally under the Misuse of Drugs Act, looks like she would have been stopped at customs and medication would have been taken off of her. Someone else might be too sick to travel overseas or can't afford to travel overseas. That means they can't access legally medical cannabis at all. It just doesn't seem fair. It seems much more sensible to have a public conversation about it and look at changing the laws so that everyone stands on equal ground.
Sure. Local artists have scooped 3 out of 4 National Fibre Art Awards in the Art Council's Nelson's 2016 National Changing Threads Contemporary Fibre Art Awards, which were announced to a large crowd at the gala opening of the finalist showcase at the Refinery Art Space in Nelson last Friday evening. Chrissy Small spoke to Ronnie Martin, who is the Fibre Art Awards Creative Director.
Ronnie Martin, look, fabulous to be here at the Refinery Arts Centre here in Nelson. Tell me about the latest exhibition that you've got going and the awards that run with it.
This is the Changing Threads Contemporary Textile and Fibre Art Awards. So this is our 8th year of holding it, and people are really starting to understand that the work has to have a strong conceptual basis as well as technical excellence. So it's very exciting to see the standard is raised each year. We have 4 awards this year. The first award is from Banina, New Zealand. They've been a sponsor since the very beginning, and that's a $2,000 award, which is for contemporary use of a sewing machine. So we had some very exciting works that qualified for that. We have a new award this year, which is combined from Pix Peanut Butter, which we're very grateful for, and Thread Studio in Perth, Australia. And that is for a work which captures the spirit of the show, which is is a very solid way of putting it, I think, because it is work that's different from just pretty pictures on the wall. We have a work from the award from the Nelson Tasman Quilters, and that is for work which has a contemporary interpretation of a traditional technique. So it could be stitch or it could be weaving or something like that, but used in a different way. So, we were very honoured this year when Dame Susie Moncrief agreed to be our guest judge with myself and Lloyd this year. And she was very, very much enthusiastic about the show, totally bowled over by the standard, and she spontaneously offered us another award because as judges we couldn't make our final decision. So that award we decided was the Dame Susie Moncrief Award, and we decided to give that for innovation and excellence. So that was all very exciting.
Okay, so we've got this fabulous exhibition here. It's running from, people need to get down here and have a look because it ends not too far away, does it?
April the 2nd, so we're here for 3 weeks, but it is closed on Sundays, Saturdays from 10 till 2 and 10 till 5 for during the week. And we have a special award this year from the MMP Consulting, and that is a viewer's choice. So as well as voting for the piece you'd like, you go in the draw for a bottle of very special bubbles, and the artist also receives a prize.
Right. Now tell me something about the winners. I believe there are 3 local winners who've taken away 3 of those categories.
Yeah, that's really exciting because other years we've had quite a high number of entries from around the Nelson and Tasman area. This year we haven't had quite so many, however 3 of our award winners were from this district, so that was very exciting, and I think it shows the quality of artists in our area.
Right. Tell me a bit about the winners.
Chrissy Cleary has taken away the Benina Prize. Her work is really exciting. So she's playing around with marks and calligraphy, and it started with an exhibition piece that she did, which we also have here, which is about what it means to be human, where she's stitched lots and lots of words onto paper. And now she's taken those shapes of the letters and abstracted them further. So it becomes a very intriguing piece, which is light box lit, and creates quite a different look from the usual textile piece you'd expect to see. Lynn Price was our award winner for the Dame Susie Moncrief Award, and she has beautiful little pieces where they're set in encaustic wax with threads, and each one's like a little montage, so absolutely exquisite. Julie Brawley has a fabulous piece with her Mantle of Our Ancestors, or Mantle of My Ancestors, I can't remember. And that's playing around with stitch in quite a different way, so it references some of the korowai that she had seen in the Te Papa Museum, and she has faces set into it with stitch and thread and things. And then Kate Ireland from Queenstown took the award, which was for the spirit of the show, and Kate actually had 3 entries. Each one is beautiful, but as one particular piece was a small heart called The Price of Love, and it's just exquisitely done.
Right. And of course, those others that weren't actually winners are absolutely stunning as well. So it's a really good opportunity for people to come and see what creativity there is in this country and locally, of course, and come and enjoy the space. It's really light and airy down here. Lovely place to be.
And because we've had quite a rigorous selection process, like the work is submitted, we do an initial selection, the work comes in, and then we do a further selection. So the 40 pieces here really embody what it is we're trying to say about contemporary textile and fibre art.
Okay, and so we've got really the best of the best here.
We have indeed. Because of the quality of the show, there was actually a show we took to UK last year to be part of the Knitting and Stitching show, which was held in London at the Alexandra Palace, in Dublin and in Harrogate, and over 57,000 people went to see that. So it's very exciting for New Zealand contemporary textile and fibre work that we are actually finally being recognised by that. I think the thing is with textile and fibre, it's often seen as the sort of poor relation of the art world. So I think having a show like this and work like this being submitted, it shows that conceptual work can be put in the context of a high art world.
Thank you very much, Ronnie, for your time today, and I'm sure our locals out there will be loving to get down here, I'll start that again. Thank you very much, Ronnie, for your time today, and I'm sure that our locals will get down here and appreciate some of this beautiful fibre artwork. It's absolutely stunning.
Thank you. We'd love to see you down here and come and enjoy it.
The People's Choice Award winner will be announced on Monday, the 4th of April. The Variety Trillion Bash children's charity fundraiser passed through Nelson this week, and I managed to catch Variety spokesman Mark Wright at Wakefield School to ask what the Variety Trillion Bash is all about. Okay, Mark, you've got Trillion Variety Bash here. You look like you're a big hit with the kids. Can you tell us a bit about what you're doing, please?
Certainly. The Variety Bash is our crazy, wacky, zany car rally that Variety, the children's charity, does every year and has done for 26 years now. And we're raising funds to help sick, disabled and disadvantaged children in New Zealand reach their full potential. Since the beginning of Variety in New Zealand, we've raised in excess of $15 million, and all that money goes to help Kiwi kids reach their full potential, basically. And we're in the Nelson area today, visiting a number of schools with this cavalcade of amazing and quite bizarre vehicles. And of course, when we turn up at a school like this, we tend to create mayhem, as you can see, because there's lots of giveaways that the various teams have, and with all the excitement of the fire engines having a water fight, and the principal's got off here lucky today because he hasn't been soaked yet, but that could still happen.
Great, and you're just heading off down the coast after here, is that the idea?
Yeah, we end up in Greymouth today, and we started in Levin in the Lower North Island on Friday night, and we finish in Timaru this coming Friday. So it's a week on the road. We've got about 25 of these vehicles and just under 200 bashers, and all those bashers are basically volunteers. They take a week off work unpaid to raise the funds that we then distribute in the grants next year. So as we go around the country, we're making presentations of grants, specialised equipment, funds and learning tools for various schools.
That's fantastic. And you're pretty much stopping at sort of every school that you go past?
We do. If we pass a school, we'll drop in, but generally we've organised so they know we're coming. And what we find is even if we're making a presentation to that school, the school have had a mufti day or they've had a sausage sizzle or something, and the kids themselves are giving back on the day, which is great to see, and it sort of warms our heart as well.
And I spoke to Wakefield School Principal Peter Verstrapper and Caleb, one of the school's enthusiastic students, for their thoughts on this special school event. Peter, well, that's all a bit different for the day, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a bit unexpected. When the Variety Trust contacted us to tell us they were coming to do the bash, we didn't quite know what to expect, so it was very much wait and see what happened, but as you saw, it was pretty outrageous.
And the kids got involved there and talked about and found out what they were all about?
We'd done a bit of learning prior to them arriving about what the Variety does and how they support children and families, and our kids, they really got in behind it. They ran a successful coin trail yesterday. We raised a good sum of money for them, and I think they got a really strong message this morning.
Hey Caleb, what did you think of all the cars in that today?
Oh, it was pretty good because there was fire engines, Thunderbird 2 car, there was ice cream cars, we got lollies, we got hats, there was all these lolly trucks, everything was real cool.
Wow, that's fun. And did you get to talk to some of the guys as well?
Yep, it was fun.
Following the break, we'll bring you the latest weather update and some events and happenings coming up from around the region.
Hi there, Julian Toon, Waimea Telecommunications. We install and maintain domestic and commercial satellite TV, UHF Freeview and Mainland TV installations in the Nelson, Tasman regions. We specialise in Panasonic telephone systems and provide communications, Wi-Fi, IT and wiring for internet, fibre, computers and DSL systems. At Waimea Telecommunications, we also provide specialist electronic systems for features such as a security camera you can watch on your TV, visitor alert systems and much more. Improve your security and communication and entertainment today. Call us on Waimea Telecommunications on 021 472297, ytel.co.nz.
Why would you want to pay as much as $1,000 for a single bed mattress when you can buy a high quality locally made mattress like this for as little as $220? And a queen size mattress could cost you in excess of $3,000, but at Nelson Beds you could have a mattress like this as low as $425. So why would you go out and spend a fortune on your child's bedroom when you can come to Nelson Beds and buy a complete single mattress and base set, a 7-drawer Scotch chest, a headboard and a 3-drawer bedside cabinet for as little as $979? So call and discuss our custom manufacturing options and local after sales service at Nelson Beds, Nelson's only bedding manufacturer.
Welcome to Smugglers Pub and Cafe, open 7 days a week with free parking all day. Our lunch menus have that fat old-fashioned flavour where we treat you like treasure with the food you'll savour.
We cater for children, grannies and granddads too, with special rates and privileges given to the elderly lunchtime crew. Our staff are friendly and kind and want to see you all come back time after time.
Daytime or evening, it doesn't matter. Give us a call on 546 4084 and we'll be happy to spoil ya.
We're the team at JCar, right here in Nelson, 120 Hardy Street. Our shop is full of electronic items,
including security alarm systems, electronic components,
solar and power,
electronics toys,
sound systems, cables, and much, much more.
JCar. 120 Hardy Street, Nelson.
Sit and Be Fit is on at the Victory Community Centre Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. at the Victory Community Church, 238 Upper Vanguard Street. School terms only. Fun while you get fitter, work at your level. On behalf of the team here at Mainland Television News, thank you for joining us.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.
World War I was a defining period in our history, impacting greatly on the lives of people from the Nelson province. Memories of the First World War is an exhibition which will be displayed in a number of regional venues and is currently on at the Nelson Provincial Museum.
Why would you want to pay as much as $1,000 for a single bed mattress when you can buy a high quality locally made mattress like this for as little as $220? And a queen size mattress could cost you in excess of $3,000, but at Nelson Beds you could have a mattress like this as low as $425. So why would you go out and spend a fortune on your child's bedroom when you can come to Nelson Beds and buy a complete single mattress and base set, a 7-drawer Scotch chest, a headboard and a 3-drawer bedside cabinet for as little as $979? So call and discuss our custom manufacturing options and local after sales service at Nelson Beds, Nelson's only bedding manufacturer.
Are you looking for a scooter, walker, wheelchair, baby seats or pushchairs? Then come in and see the Nelson Region Specialist at Mobility for You, 269 Queen Street, Richmond, opposite the library. We have a huge selection of scooters, walkers, wheelchairs and accessories, along with a free booklet guide. We also provide a breakdown service if you ever get a puncture or a flat battery. We have fully equipped service vans to rescue you. Hi, I'm Robin Jordan and I invite you to call in and see the friendly team at Mobility for You, 269 Queen Street, Richmond, opposite the library.
You can't touch this. You can't touch this.
Tune in to Sunshine Radio, 87.8 and 107.5 FM.
Music hits so hard, can't touch this.